The Reaper is back. Patrick Mahomes is a Terminator with one leg, and he just don't care. They're going to a fifth straight AFC Championship game. Jaguars gave up a good fight, but they couldn't get it done against the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome back to the championship game. This is RGR Football. I hope you guys are doing well. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is the channel you want to be on because we're going to break it all down for you today. We have a lot to go over. You can't start anywhere else than the one-legged monster that is Patrick Mahomes. It is hashtag MVPat right now.
Right.
I mean, how incredible was this to understand just how hurt he was, the fact that they had to force him into the locker room, and he's able to come back in the second half.
That just tells you everything that you've ever needed to know. If anyone had any questions about Patrick Mahomes, ever, any time, whatever, this was every answer you needed. Yeah, he's on one leg, hopping to try to get outside zone to the running backs. He's trying to move in the pocket. He can't after a play where he's finally getting up in a little bit, delivers a ball. He's limping to the huddle, and he's just like, I'm fine. Because he knows what's at stake. Like this is right here. It's right here. Everything is right here for Patrick Mahomes. It's not, yeah, my leg hurts. Fine. Okay. Right. I have a game to win. That's what it's about. That's what every season's been about. That's what everything has led to. And he's like, I'm not going out. I'm not doing it unless I physically can't get on the field. I'm not going. But as good as Patrick Mahomes was able to get back on the field and lead them to victory, Chad Henne should have his jersey retired by Kansas City. He absolutely should. Do whatever you have to.
Where to go?
2 playoff wins. There it is, right there. Jesus, he is an amazing back. He has 2 playoff wins. He has 2. More than Justin Herbert, by the way.
Easy now.
I feel bad about that.
I still like Herbert.
I do too. But that's more of a shot at Chargers than it is anything else because Justin Herbert's great. But he's got 2 playoff wins. He led them to the win for the Cleveland Browns game. He had to come in. And then, he doesn't get the win here. Without that touchdown drive, this game looks a hell of a lot different. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, too. Cheers to my kids because I'm using my new cup. Today's my birthday, and the Chiefs gave me a present, and my kids gave me a present. So love you guys. I know you might not be watching live, but we'll see you later. Anything is possible, and he is the GOAT. Ready? I'm glad you guys keep bringing this up. We're going to get there. Y'all are just quicker than us. So, Rogue, yeah, that's what I am talking about. Good job, you guys. A lot to take away here. But that's the thing is I thought it was going to be a 10-point game. It ended up being only 7. I'm not hearing Patrick, who's live right now on NBC. So you guys will have to tell me what he's talking about. But
yeah, me too.
This was the big thing. It was the fact that everybody thought you take away Tyreek, this offense can't run. Everybody thought, and even it crept in a little bit. If Patrick's out, can they beat this super hot team in Jacksonville? Well, turns out Chad Henne said, yeah, I've been here before. Can do. I mean, this is the way that it works. This is why Chad Henne's here. This is why when everybody asked all camp, let's get rid of Henne and keep Michelle and all that stuff. And I said, no. You want to have the veteran. This is why. This game proves it. And honestly, I don't know if Patrick can practice this week. And I think I'm going to be okay with that.
You have to I don't even think I want him to practice this week. I want him to rest and treat that ankle with everything possible. And again, if it comes down to it, you do what you have to do. Patrick will soldier out there for a game. And that's just kind of how it is, and use the bye week if they win the AFC Championship game to rest up. But that's what this is. It's a mental game. It's trying to figure out how you can rest up this whole week and play 4 quarters of football on Sunday next week. That's what this is about now. And I don't care. I don't care if he doesn't practice. I don't care if he stays all week at home. I don't care if he sleeps all week and plays video games in his room. I don't care. Sit there, treat that ankle, and figure it out.
This is your excuse, Patrick. You can be Kyler Murray this week. We don't care. Maybe don't go to Thailand, but maybe you can get him to come back. I don't know. But yeah, kick back and relax. It is okay to be off your feet this week. A lot of great comments, you guys. I'm going to stack them up here. We are a little bit rushed. After the pressers, I got to do Locked On Chiefs, so we're not going to be here terribly long. Hit your super chats if you want your question answered, and we'll try to get to it. We're going to run through our notes. Big takeaway for me that's on the other side of the ball, despite the quarterback performances. You can't get away from Trav. We'll get to him in a minute. But this defense stepped up as a whole, all the way around. We got a better defensive interior line performance than we've seen in a very, very long time. Andy Reid actually used one of my tricks. 2 of them, actually. We'll talk about that later. And the rookie, not just corners, the rookie DBs, the rookie class in general was all over this game. What's the biggest takeaway outside of the quarterbacks for you?
So I'm gonna come in hot, y'all, right now. Harrison Butker is the player of the game for me. Harrison Butker is the player of the game. Not only was he ice on every kick that he had, he saved the possible comeback hopes of the Jacksonville Jaguars by tackling Jamal Agnew. That's it. That saves what could have possibly happened. You needed something that wasn't going to be from. You needed a special teams play because your special teams have been awful in this game. They've been terrible. They've been no good. And Harrison Butker said, fine, you guys need a play. I'm going to make a play because apparently none of y'all can do it. So I'm going to stop this guy from scoring a touchdown. And then the defense comes big with that fumble. That doesn't happen without Harrison Butker.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Like, you have to contribute. It's always, they say 3 phases. Well, this guy's been a phase out of phase all year. People have been riding him. He showed up today, and hopefully that means that his ankle's better and he feels more connected to the team and the flow of the game. And I feel good about where Butker is. I think, honestly, it was the lack of fade on any of his kicks that made me feel the most comfortable, because it didn't look like he was overthinking. He was striking it well. Yeah, it sets it up really, really well. So I'm feeling good about that. We're going to get to a couple more of your comments. Again, folks, hit the question marks at the beginning. A lot of you are doing that. If you are new to us, that helps me pick them out of the chance. But make sure that you like this video and sub to the channel. And click that bell for days like this where we go live immediately after. You want to get that notice. Mike, we are going to talk about the rookies. Any super chats, I guarantee you we're going to get an answer tonight. Unless you guys make me go way, way over, we're going to get that done. So thank you for the support. Join that membership if you want to get into the Discord as well.
Happy birthday, Ryan. Thank
you. Cheers. What's your gut feeling about Cincy Buffalo? And then we'll get back to this game.
So I didn't earlier in the week. I thought it would be Cincy. Right now, I think it's going to be Buffalo, because the offensive line injuries for Cincy, they might just be too much for them to overcome. And I don't know how they play down Alex Kappa, Lyle Collins, and Jonah Williams. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's tough. If you see what Pat did today, when thankfully. Noah Wiley, he's an actor. Andrew Wiley was not on my radar. I didn't write Andrew Wiley's name down once today.
Oh, you didn't?
And no, I didn't. I probably should have, but I didn't get to it. But Josh Allen, what did he have? I don't think he had a pressure.
I don't think he had a pressure.
So I feel good about that. Did he move the ball around? Yes. Obviously, Patrick was moving a lot in the pocket, and that was for the offensive line. But they didn't let him get hit a lot. I don't think it was. He was not sacked today. Does that surprise you? Because there was a lot of collapsing pockets, but they did not record a sack today.
No, it's when you think about totality of what a sack is, it's not surprising to me because I don't remember that being happened, but he was moving around a lot. He was having to come off of his spot. Chad Henne was getting the ball out quick. I don't even think he ever got pressured except for the time he got hit, which was, aggressive defense is going to net some aggressive penalties, and they happen to work for the Chiefs on that one there. But yeah, Mahomes was trying to get the ball out. He didn't want to have to sit there and take a hit. So yeah, that's definitely surprising when you think about all the pressure that it looked like they had, and he was moving around a lot. They didn't record a sack.
Yeah, that's what's surprising to me. So on being able to do that, I think Josh. So there were a couple of hits. Lloyd got a couple. They blitzed effectively. I would say. With Devin Lloyd, he was a guy that we liked a lot last year. I think both of us did. Walker did get a hit. And Key, obviously. I thought Key, I don't trust him. I got to tell you, people were looking for him to sign in Kansas City last offseason. I got to tell you, I just don't trust the guy.
He, on replay, it sure looked like that was on purpose, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I didn't really like what I saw from that. It looks like we may have lost Ryan in the process, or maybe you lost me. I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, there you are. Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Evidently, the snowstorm is playing havoc, but that's the thing is like, you never know where I live. Devin, I thought Devin Lloyd played well. I thought Key was kind of headhunting. I'm surprised he didn't get a penalty for the hit to the helmet on that same play, because he did go head to head, and I think that's a problem. I will say this though, and I say all that to say this: the refs didn't decide this ball game. And yes, they made a couple of mistakes, but they weren't the turning point in this ball game. And I find that refreshing. And I think on a day when Patrick's already hurt, I think that could have been the downfall if it had turned out that way.
It definitely could have been, because it's hard to overcome penalties when your quarterback can't do what he normally does. So Chad Henne wouldn't be able to overcome a 3rd and 15. Like, it just wouldn't happen. And Patrick needed every one of those shorter yards. By the way, I'm going to get to that at some point. Shorter 3rd downs that they could have. If they could I just want to throw this out there. If the Chiefs are going to have a 3rd down, get down before it's 1 yard. Please. Please. I can't take how ineffective and awful this team is at 3rd and 1 and 3rd and short. It's the worst I've ever seen. And it's obvious. It's disgusting, and they should be embarrassed by it.
I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they're scratching their heads. Somebody, and I can't remember who it was on social media, because I have a 2-second time frame here, folks. I can't remember anything past that. Said that they're better at 3rd and 6 than 3rd and 6 inches, and it's true. I don't know why it is, but it is. And that said, you have to still try to continue to work on that. This team, obviously, going back to an AFC Championship game, and we can't sell that short. But there's still things to be worked on. That is never going to change. You can always get better, and I think that's what we have to see here. Nick Lennington, thank you for your support and your super chat. Appreciate that. Mahomes playing like Dr. House will be remembered forever. I mean, agree. Like, I'm tempted to call this the Terminator game, because you can lop off one of his legs and he just keeps coming after you.
Doesn't matter.
But like, the Reaper's the Reaper. And I thought, despite all the bad calls that Mitch Schwartz will confirm Chris Collinsworth was making, all the just ludicrous comments about offensive line play, they did a good job in not making it look like Patrick was out of sorts when the whole sideline thing was happening. He's a passionate player. He wants to be out there. I think he has faith in Chad Henne, but he needs to be the guy for him. And I think that fight was something that was really important to see.
How often do we see Patrick, get into it, like really get into it and show his visible emotion?
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that I think last year we kind of asked for a little bit. Just get in some players' faces at times, whatever you have to do it in that way. But this was exactly what I wanted to see from him. This is you're trying to win a Super Bowl, and you want to be the reason your team wins, or you want to be on there with them when it's time to possibly win the football game. And he didn't know, obviously, going down that tunnel, if that was going to be a chance he'd get. Yep. And I don't know what's going to happen with the high ankle sprain going forward. I don't know how bad it is. We will find out this week. But safe to say that Patrick, if he can limp out on that field, he will be doing it, because that's the kind of player that he is. And he will never give up. And like you said, he just keeps coming. I think every single team should be afraid of what they just saw from Patrick Mahomes. Even though he didn't play great on one leg, he did everything you could ask of a quarterback with one leg. Everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely. There's nothing left. No. Like that's all you can do. Canadian Chief, thank you for your support. Appreciate you, buddy. Come on, NFL, let 3 teams dress 3 quarterbacks. You're absolutely right. You have a roster. Just dress the whole dang roster. There's no for this.
Please.
At this point. Ryan, thank you. Clutch Award, Watson, Butker, or Henne? They all contributed. That was a good catch for Watson. It's got to be Henne, though, right?
I think he's just saying multiple people, or is this just no?
I think this is a question. What do you think? Who gets it?
I would also put Frank Clark in there. This might have been Frank Clark's best game all season. Season, he was everywhere. He was diagnosing plays. He was getting in the backfield. He finally did it. He finally did the outside-inside counter on Walker Little. I've been asking for it for 2 years. He finally rushed up the edge and said, "Hey, wait, I got space. Let me get back inside." And then he got a sack. I was like, "Oh, thank you, Frank. Thank you."
Speaking of guy who only has one leg, Walker Little. Sorry. But Frank did get pinned inside on that touchdown early for ATN in the third. I'm glad he showed up, and I think that given the groin injury, this is what we can expect. That he's on the way up, and I'm looking forward to that. Got to get to a couple of these. Josh, we talked about the offensive line, but what we didn't tie in yet is Pacheco. Pacheco's big breakaway run is something we've been waiting for all season, right?
Yep.
Just because he hasn't had that opportunity to really break it where everybody's crushed into the tackle box. That's what he's capable of. I thought he ran, despite that play, I thought he ran great all day. I don't want to take away from the rest of his hard-earned yards because he popped that one. But did you see anything you were concerned about? Because I think he looks like he's on fire.
He's still frustrating as all get out. Because he does make that play, but he ran right into the back of the offensive lineman. And there were multiple times where he's missing cutback lanes. And this isn't on outside zone. It's on normal inside zone. And he's just missing them. But again, he runs hard. He gives everything he has. And when you're running into the back of an offensive lineman and you're like, hey, wait a second, I got some space to move over here. And this guy, he can't catch me if I get in open space. So I mean, he's got this jitterbug mentality and he misses holes. And I'm just like, I want to like you so much, but I also want to hate you so much. It's like, oh,
well, let's hope that this is like his eye-opening moment. Oh, if I actually pay attention and use my lateral vision, maybe I can make more of those big plays that change games. And good for him. So we'll get back to the offense. We got to talk about Travis, obviously, and some of the other. I've got to talk about one Tony play in particular because it's the biggest note in terms of X's and O's that I have on here. But Cody brought it up, and Cody's absolutely right. That defense came to play on every single level. I thought that linebackers were going to get attacked, and they did. They rose pretty well. A couple of plays where Bolton was a little bit out of position, a little late attacking his gap. That's okay. Willie was reading things, and he missed that one where they isolated and got Karlaftis on Kirk out of the backfield.
Yeah,
that was a miss.
He was confused. Like he was like, okay, if I'm supposed to blitz, no, you need to now understand that George Karlaftis has to be rushing and you need to go. You cannot let that happen. That's just It's just a misunderstanding.
Yep. That was a mistake. A couple of things by Bolton early. They both settled down, not only after that play, but in the second half in particular. And I thought they were there. They were making plays. Willie had a nice TFL at one point. They rose. But it was not really a surprise for me. Both the pluses and the minuses at the linebacker level were what I expected.
Yeah.
It was the defensive front and the DBs that I thought really stood out. And it wasn't Chris Jones. And I'm sorry. I would have loved to seen everything come together for Chris Jones today. What did he end up with? He ended up with a tackle and a hit. He didn't get that sack yet. But when you get Frank involved, when you get Noddy involved, when you have Colin Saunders literally a freight train chasing down Trevor Lawrence multiple times, I mean, that's what you need from this defensive front. And I think that goes farther for me to say whether it's Cincy or whether it's Buffalo, they are tuning up and getting into it. There's 8 quarters of football left for a championship, folks. And I think the D-line can raise their level to get there.
Yeah, they looked really, really good today. And honestly, Chris was literally all over the backfield. He was everywhere. He was getting in there. He was creating pressure. But Trevor Lawrence was like, I don't want to get hit by Chris Jones. So he threw the ball multiple times. I think there was a couple of them where he threw incompletions because Chris is in his lap. He's right there. There was a couple big plays because of pressure too. But a lot of Spags' blitzes, specifically the interception from Jalen Watson, that was because Spags brought a blitz and a free guy, and just he was like, "Uh-oh, I have to throw this football. I have to throw it." And guess what? Jalen Watson says, "I will take that with one hand. Thank you very much."
And hey, good for him. And they didn't even target Josh Williams. I'm not sure. I think it's because of Josh's athleticism. I don't have an update. Somebody asked about Snead. I don't have any update yet. The pressers are going on, as I understand now. Matt will have an update for us on Locked On Chiefs. We'll be live there after this is over. But I don't have information yet. What it looked like to me, because it was he had over pursued basically and had to turn back to the inside pretty hard. And I'm like taking myself out of the frame. He had to turn back to the inside pretty hard. I think what he did is it was a hip flexor injury. I think he probably strained it again, is what it looked like to me. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm not a physician. I've gone through a lot of these kinds of things, but that's my opinion. We'll find out when we find out for sure from Andy or Rick Burkholder probably on Tuesday or Monday by then, actually. So that is all to say that Snead is clearly the leader. They gave a couple of passes when he went out. There's got to be a transition there, but I like the fact that McDuffie moved to the nickel. And so at the end of the day, it seems no matter what happens, their top two corners are going to be the guys that are manning the nickel. They're not going to play around with doing other things. I'm comfortable with that, even if it is McDuffie next week. What do you think?
I think it will be. If Snead can play, I think McDuffie will be in the slot. And I think right now, it's their best philosophy. I think Snead has played better on the outside this year. The last 3 games of the season, you and I actually talked about this before we did our keys to the game.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 games, he didn't play in the slot. Snead was just an outside corner. And you probably wouldn't have guessed that had you been watching the game and said, well, Snead's been out there. Yeah, but no, he's been an outside corner and Trent McDuffie's been in the slot. So I do think it's their best play right now. And that should tell you that they can get better than they played today.
Yep.
I personally think they can get better because for everything L'Jarius Snead is, he's not the short area quickness athlete that Trent McDuffie is. Trent McDuffie is a better short area quickness player. And right now it is, honestly, I think next year we're going to see Trent McDuffie take on the role that L'Jarius Snead's been playing. Well, he'll be outside in base, but he'll be in the slot everywhere else. And I think that's perfect because he can keep with these short area quickness guys because he has that ability to him.
Yeah. He does have a little bit more. And I will take that a step farther, building on yours. And Dirty Hall, thank you for your super chat and your support of the channel, man. And this one's for you because I'm guessing you agree with me, Dirty. I think that will allow L'Jarius Snead, he'll have to have an extension. I think that will allow him going back to the boundary to become a literal lockdown corner. I think that is in the realm of possibility. That is his upside as far as I see. Do you disagree with that at all?
I don't disagree. You're taking away the biggest problem to his game, which is the short area quickness. If he can be vertical, he's got the length, he has the speed, he has the size, he has the physicality to be a legitimate number 1 corner. So I think we're seeing the Chiefs kind of figure out, wait. I know we drafted this guy number 1 in the first round. Trent McDuffie, he's going to be really, really good. But L'Jarius Snead, this guy can play on the outside. And I think that right now we understand that our defense needs to change a little bit. And that coming to that conclusion with 3 games left in the season might save their defense in terms of playing against some of the top offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's, again, a story for another season because they are going back to their 5th AFC Championship.
That's right.
But this was the retool year, right? And that's what we're talking about. So if they get a bump at that particular level, I think there's a lot more that they can do. So that's where we're at. Thank you, Dirty Hall. We appreciate you, buddy. This is a question that I want you to dig into because Travis Kelce did he end up with 15 on the day?
I saw 14.
That's what I saw too. I was hoping he got over that. Without your star quarterback, you end up with 17 targets, 14 receptions for 98 and 2. Just how good is he, and what does this mean according to this comment from Not a Fan?
All right, so Not a Fan. Travis Kelce looks slower this season. How many more years can he keep playing this pace, do you think? So Travis Kelce, the reason he looks slower is because, well, he's 34 years old. But where he's not slower are his hips. That man's hips have aged like a fine wine. He has a great ability to just get in and out of breaks, like unlike any tight end to ever play the game of football. That's how good he is. So yeah, he's not going to be. I mean, he still did it this year. He ran away from Derwin James for a touchdown in overtime. Travis Kelce. I want everyone to understand the gravity of what I'm about to say. There's no vibrato. There's nothing. There's no hyperbole. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end of all time. He's the greatest tight end of all time. He not only can he do what he does, he gets paid by being everything that he is on the field in terms of catching the football, but he's making key blocks. He's making key blocks in this game in the fourth quarter. Travis Kelce played limited snaps this year, like in relative to what we usually see. He did play relatively the same, but he was managed differently. It's all for this moment. Okay. He had 17 targets in a game where they absolutely needed it because Chad Henne, had to come in. Patrick Mahomes is hobbled. They need guys to get open quickly. And you want to know what? Travis Kelce, I'll get open. I'll get open quickly because you want to know what? That's what they need from me right now. His ability to change what he does in the game of itself, it's unlike anything we've ever seen but I think he'll play 3-4 more years at this kind of level.
Yeah, I mean, this is what has to happen. And sorry, folks, I've fallen behind. I cannot get to all of your questions. They're adding up faster than I can flag them. That's what I've been trying to do over here. But Super Chatters, I guarantee you I'll get you because you guys stand out and make it easy for me to find. Travis Kelce is, I mean, look at this guy. At the end of the day, this is what he is. He's alone. He's dirty. He's 37,000 years old. For a tight end to be doing this, the height of historic playoff moves here, when he is that age, it's beyond impressive. Like I'm not putting it well enough. This is unheard of. This is what Tony's like, dang, he is going to pass me. He is going to be the best one in this franchise's history. You know, I mean, it is what it is. And it's okay because you have to use what you can use. And I think by throttling him down a little bit, even though he does look like he's a little bit slower, I agree with that. He's not quite as explosive, not as poppy. I think that gives him 2-3 seasons and it allows him to get to the Hall and eventually end up with numbers that make it just impossible to ignore. This is just another one in the cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's going, actually, I think he's going to be within realm of the most receiving yards in NFL history for a tight end if he hasn't already gotten them. He had 10 catches for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns at halftime. I mean, that's better than most people's games. Like that's a halftime, and he had it in the playoffs. Like we're talking about, not just what Travis Kelce does. Andy Reid for understanding the true weakness of this Jags defense. They're very good up front. They have a nice, solid back end, but their linebackers are awful in coverage. They're awful. If you guys listened to the show that I did with JP before the game, he was talking and telling you guys about how bad the linebackers are in coverage, and they did not have an answer for Travis Kelce. It was obvious early in the game, wide open on a touchdown because he's just faking a tiny little block, and then he's wide open underneath. Andy Reid, masterclass. Attacking once again a true weakness of a defense and exploiting it to the fullest extent of the law.
I will say this too, like it's almost illegal the way that this team is coming together because of all the negativity up front. And I heard someone say last week on one of the podcasts, I can't remember which one it was, that like, oh, he had this bad game. Was it the Jags that he had the 3 interceptions? I can't remember.
No, that was the Broncos game.
So they're like, yeah, he can't win MVP because of that. He's not what he used to be. I think this game like puts it all like beyond discussion, to tell you the truth. Like I'm fed up with that whole line now. Like I can't take any more of that crap because it just isn't real. And he continues to thwart every derogatory comment every single time. I mean, the guy is just, I mean, he's this dude. He's this dude all the time. And you got to love that. It doesn't matter whether you're a fan of the team or you're a fan of another team. You got to have respect. And I think I had to turn off Twitter here about the fourth quarter because I just couldn't take any more of the comments. People who don't even follow me coming out of the woodwork to tell me how much of a drama queen he is and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you know what? Drama or not, he got it done.
Was Michael Jordan a drama queen?
Right? Exactly.
Is Tiger Woods in his prime a drama queen? Come on, people. We're talking about some of the best athletes ever. Obviously, you know, injury aside, these are all-time greats. Patrick Mahomes right now, 5th AFC Championship game straight. Okay?
Yeah.
5th. Okay? Ever since he's been the starter, he's been in an AFC Championship game. All right? That's never been done. Ever. Period. It's crazy. It's insane. Patrick Mahomes is about to win the 2nd MVP. He has a Super Bowl. He's gone to another one. What more do you want from a 27-year-old quarterback? What do you want?
There can't be anything else. If somebody needs to see something else from them, I got nothing for you. You don't understand the game. You don't understand how hard it is to do what he does, what he did tonight as well. And I did put it out on Twitter that after that last touchdown over the top, he came down on his foot. Yeah. And the lineman had to help him up and drag him around. And they showed it just for a split second on the screen, and I captured that because that's what you have to have if you want to press through these things. It's the same thing with the Reaper game last year. It's this Terminator game this year, and that's what I'm going to call it, I guess. So I'm just going with movie titles at this point. But like, it comes back to him and his example to the team. And even though like you don't need guys to be led by example, everybody's a professional. They've got their own pride. It just raises everybody's level, knowing that he's not going to go down. He's not going to quit. He will just keep coming. There's no escaping it.
You know, you're talking about him getting picked up from the offensive lineman. Immediately after that, he kind of limps to the sideline and he's telling everyone, "I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good." That's not just a leader; it's a leader of men. He's like, "No, don't worry about me. I got this. I'm okay. You guys do what you got to do. We scored. Defense, you go do this. I'm good. Don't worry about me. That's it." It's the team above himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. He does not care about himself. He doesn't care that he's hurt. He knows the job has to get done, okay? Yep. And I know that there was a lot more that happened in this game, but what Patrick Mahomes did, what he did to come back, to be able to lead this team to a victory with, again, the defense making very timely plays. There's nothing else you can really say about it. Like, it's so his greatness gets taken for granted, but this kid, I will not let this get taken for granted. I won't. I refuse. So this is the storyline. It's not about the Chiefs. They're going to a fifth straight Super Bowl, or excuse me, a fifth straight AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes, his greatness can no longer be put to the side because Andy Reid, because he's got a great team around him. He is great. He is great.
Yes, he is, and raises everybody else around him. Now, Poto, I understand where you're coming from. Defense is in trouble next week. The Bills or Bengals. If Jacksonville chewed us up on the running game, imagine what we can have stop the Bills or Bengals. I actually disagree with you because Jacksonville's been running better than both of them the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
ATN's been on fire. Now, the Bengals have a better systemic running attack. Bills are still searching for it. I like Cook, and Cook's got great breakaway speed. They're going to have to watch out for. But I think you'll see when you watch this game coming up that it's not quite as rudimentary. It takes a little bit more from them. So if they do get gashed in the run, I still think they're going to be okay as long as Patrick can make those drops and he doesn't have to throw off of 1 foot and he's not doing the jump passing. Mm-hmm. It all depends on how he recovers from this ankle this week. If he's hurting and he can't plant on that foot, then yes, that run game has a bigger propensity to hurt you coming at you. But I think they showed today that they can still move the ball enough. And hopefully, in my selfish thing, hopefully that they can run the ball better and run the ball more.
Yeah.
We might even get a second guest here in a minute. So, Callie, thank you for your cheers. I appreciate you. What do you think of the special teams overall? Because Sugary's got a good point here.
All right. So, yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said. Though that's the highlights of the special teams. Otherwise, everyone's pretty bad. Kadarius wastes too much time. That's the biggest thing with Kadarius' game right now, is that he has so much wasted movement to his game. There was a punt return that I watched where he's literally just doing this the entire time. You want to know what? If you would just take it and run, you would get in 5 yards instead of nothing because you want to try and make guys miss. No. Stop with the wasted movement. Stop with all that stuff. See a hole and go. Otherwise, I mean, to be honest, you should be replaced anyway. But that's neither here nor there. Punt returners, they need to be aggressive. They need to be knifers. And they need to know when to shimmy and when to make guys miss, when you have time, when you can actually do it. He can't do that right now. So the special teams are not good. They're the worst ever under Dave Toe, in my opinion. It's been the worst that we've ever seen. Is that just because there's been a ton of turnover? I don't know. We'll find out next year because most of these guys should be back. They're all lots of young players, lots of turnover from last year. We'll see. I give him the year, the benefit of the doubt. If we're still seeing it next year, something's got to change.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Something does have to come along. And I do think Tony will grow out of it. He now relies on his shake and bake. I think he's starting to see if he just gets vertical, he still has the ability to use a little bit of it to get out of tackles without having to waste so much time in acceleration. So we'll see how he comes along. I think a lot of people forget that he is, for all intents and purposes, a second-year player. I mean, that's just the way that it is.
That's true.
Tyler, you become a member here at the rookie level or above, and then you log into Discord. You can then, in Discord, connect your YouTube account and you're in like gold. It's super easy. And if you have any trouble, we can help you out with that. FLTB will be on Monday, I'm sure. So he's the man. Looks like we have another guest coming in. Until we have to do Locked On Chiefs, Chris Clark is here because, hey, we need more voices, I'm going to leave us in this zoomed in one. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. How are you guys?
The same. About the same. About the same.
Sighs of relief. Did you think the Jags were dirty, Chris?
Man, going back and rewatching that play, yeah, I do think that they were playing dirty. I think that was a dirty play by, was it Arden Key?
Yep.
If you go watch the replay, there's a specific, I don't know who tweeted out, somebody's showing he's basically going straight down the leg, not even trying to wrap him up or do anything. So
yeah, he was not concerned with corralling him.
Right. And I'm sure you guys have already talked about it, but Jalen Watson, what a freaking pick.
Dan's guy. We were saving it, so I'm going to let Dan go off on Jalen.
It's all good, man.
That Texas.
Sorry,
right,
Dan, my bad.
No, don't stop on account of me. We all get to appreciate everything good that happened in this game. So don't apologize.
I mean, good for Jalen. It was the third underthrown ball. I thought at times we got the Juan Thornhill I've been waiting for 3 seasons since he got hurt, really. And he nearly came up with one. I would have liked to see him get his hands all the way around that. Cook nearly came up with another one. So, like, 2 rookies almost had picks tonight. And Jalen actually did. And again, if you're going to put a ball up under against these long, tall corners, even though they're rookies, they're going to make you pay. And I was really happy to see it for him after he had a hot start and kind of lost some ground to Josh Williams. Then he came back.
Yeah, I think he's been it's tough as a 7th round draft pick. That's just, make no bones about it. 7th round draft pick adjusting to the NFL is not, it's nothing easy. So him coming out and giving everyone like this, oh, look, he can take Josh Williams' job. Like, everyone assumed that Josh Williams would be the guy. And we've really seen them go back and forth using, I've likened it to when a kid messes up, they go in timeout and then the other kid gets to do what they were doing. Like, trading off stuff. That's pretty much what's been happening. Josh Williams gets like abused one week, and then Jalen Watson comes in and he plays well. Jalen Watson gets abused one week, Josh Williams comes in and like shows up. They've been using that as like a battle, and Jalen Watson in this game had, I don't know, probably his best game from what I could tell. Again, these Jaguars receivers aren't the best separators outside of Christian Kirk. You kind of saw a couple gashes in zone coverage, which we'll get to in the film, but in man coverage, you again, the reason that that throw was underthrown and why it was stood up there forever was because whoever that, I forget the blitzer, somebody was in Trevor Lawrence's face immediately. That ball had to come out. Yeah. So he's just hoping, he's like, I got to put something on this, or otherwise, that's going to be probably laser picked. But instead, Watson, I don't even this Stickum or something was on his hands because it looked so easy. He was like, it's like the ball was small and he was just like, thank you. He just like took it.
Hey, that'll be mine.
I absolutely loved what Nick Bolton did though afterwards. Get out, get out, get out.
Yeah, right. Do not take a chance. Seal this thing up. That was smart. And Tyler, I like the way you troll. No, Trevor Lawrence is no longer undefeated on Saturdays. He's got his loss there, so welcome to it. HD Dreamin', thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Jags played dirty. Do you agree? I think Chris and Dan definitely do. I tend to as well. I really want to hear from Key before I decide 100%. But did you see Warren Sapp's tweet? I did not. Did either of you guys?
I didn't see it, no.
Okay, well, Chris is going to check right now.
I
was about to say. Pull it up.
I know that.
The mad typist. Thank you, HD, though. We'll get back when he pulls that up and we'll have a look at it. Corbin, why does no one talk about Doug Peterson sleeping with interns while his wife was at home? I have no idea what you're talking about. So that's probably why. I probably should have screened that one a little bit better. My apologies.
I don't think it's Warren Sapp. I think he means Warren Sharp.
Oh, okay. What Warren have to say?
He believes it was a dirty hit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hey, then we're not alone. It's not just partisanism that we cover this team all the time. And folks, as far as people's personal lives, I can't speak to that. I'm not in the building. I have no concept. So if you have an axe to grind with anything other than football, go somewhere else, because I ain't doing it. Snead getting cooked again in the slot by Kirk. Time to get McDuffie back in there for the next game. That was a crazy pick. Cooked? I don't think so. I would not put it that way. What did he was 8 for 8 last time against this team. How did he do tonight?
I take a little umbrage with that. I didn't see him specifically on Kirk a ton where he was getting cooked. I saw one that I think it went for a first down on third down where he was at the line of scrimmage and then had to get back in front of Kirk and get on his outside hip when he's doing an insideward breaking route. That's what I saw. I didn't see him get cooked. I saw him being put in poor position because he has to scrounge up to the offensive line and then get back behind Kirk so he doesn't get beat deep. That's what I saw.
Fair enough. No, that doesn't mean he doesn't make some bad plays. It was Warren Sharp. Go ahead.
Yeah, three hours ago, he talked about the immediate drop down to the leg, not even trying to wrap and tackle. If you guys go look at it, it was 3 hours ago that he put it out. It's really clear. It's directly at trying to take his ankle out.
Rock and roll. Thanks, HD. Appreciate you pointing that out. And Okamoto, this is not to come at you, but he did have a couple of passes he gave up. There's always something that can give up. When you're in the nickel, it's the hardest position on the field to play because there's absolutely – imagine this. You're walking out on a tightrope and you have guardrails. A lot of us have done that. You do like tree rope climbs and across canyons and stuff, right? Now you're a nickel and you don't have any guide ropes. You're just standing there.
Yep.
That's what it is. It is playing without a net when you're out at the nickel spot rather than on the boundary corner. So it is more difficult. Did he have the greatest game? I wouldn't say that, but whatever. Go ahead.
I want to know who had which one of you had MBS catching the game-winning touchdown?
Not me.
Definitely not Dan, but I didn't either.
I did say they should get in the ball more, though. So, I mean, maybe that can count. I don't know.
Ryan, you do realize that today is also Sneed's birthday, right?
Yeah. Well, Jairus and I do share a birthday. I'm a few years older. I'm just going to put it that way. Tom, it was a pretty good birthday present. I will say that as well. Can we talk about Spags only rushing 3 and dropping 8 into coverage? And I did point that out on Twitter when it happened because that was nice to see. Now, it wasn't necessarily like all the way because both Willie and Bolton were there as basically spies. So they were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. If you're truly dropping 8, you're getting into deeper zones and that kind of thing. But again, changing tendencies, doing something you don't do. And no one's brought it up yet. So I will get to it in a minute. We got a couple more super chats I want to make sure that we cover because I guarantee you guys will get answers on them. And Evan asked this one. Thank you, Evan. Yet another wonderful season in coverage. Thank you very much. Thank you. More praise for Henny. Always ready. Yes, he is.
Yep, always.
I mean, dude, he might be a 45-year-old quarterback that's ready to go as a backup. I think he could make it. Longmorn, thank you for your support, buddy. Very pleased with our young DBs growing up. Yep, absolutely. 6 needs to get under control soon, though. Yeah, I didn't get to see the replay on his penalty. Did you see it, Chris?
I didn't see it. They didn't show it, and that's kind of disappointing. Obviously, you can go back and watch it once we get coach's film, but really got to see what he did. I mean, it was dumb, but at the same time, I mean, he does need to get things under control. He's done that a couple of times this season.
He has. He's got an edge. And the funny thing is he didn't do it at Cincinnati. I don't think I saw a single out-of-control penalty from him.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the transition. He was the best athlete on the field of his position most of the time in college.
Yeah, and one thing I thought that was really interesting at the very end of the game, Tommy Townsend goes back to punt, and it's a line drive. I don't think I've seen him do a line drive all season long.
It was weird.
Yeah.
I was expecting another, 10 yards at least plus hang time.
You know, it's been an interesting special teams.
Butker. Thank you, Butker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we covered
one
that.
On the chin.
Yeah, we covered him a little bit earlier, but kudos to Tommy as well. It's been an interesting year for special teams. So we're going to have to power through and see what happens. Longmorn, thank you again for this one. I will be drinking later. I've got some family stuff I got to do as soon as we're done. And thank you for this one. Let's see. How about bringing back the QB option? Been begging for that. Corbin, you have, and you got it. I don't know if they're going to do it a lot, but they started to uncover some things that we've been saying, hey, they're going to be holding this back. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Andy gave me a present for my birthday, and I will tell you what it was. It was the play that set up the last touchdown. It was a counter pitch to Tony out of the backfield. He combined two of my favorite concepts and ones that we've been calling for all season long, the counter plays and the pitch plays. I didn't think it would go to Tony, but it worked. It doesn't really matter to me who the receiver is on that particular one. But this is what they've been doing. Clearly, they have a stable of plays they've been holding all season long, and now they're going to let them loose. This was just a taste. It is not anywhere near done. Are you guys surprised? Dan, we'll start with you. Are you surprised that it waited this long? And how much do you think is still in the bag?
I don't even know how much of that Andy Reid has a bag that goes deeper than Santa Claus's. I don't understand how he continuously has all of this stuff. I watched a little bit of the interview he had with Chris Sims before the game this week, and he talked about how doing all these things that they do, like the snow globe and everything like that, it's about fun. That's what we said. Like, this is for fun. It's like you can have fun and still score touchdowns in the NFL. So there are so many plays that they have built into this offense that, one, are fun that we haven't seen, and there's so many other things that they've done. There was a couple counter plays or polar plays that they ran with Jerick McKinnon. Didn't do very well because they couldn't block the backside. Shocker. Seems to be always the problem when they pull anybody. They can't block the backside. But there's so many different things that you can do, and I'm so excited because, like I said, that bag is endless. I don't see it. I don't see it in sight.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those trick ones and stuff just keeps coming out of it. If you guys want some of the RGR gear, go ahead and grab it here in the store. The link's in this comment. It's also in the chat. What do you got, Chris?
I was just going to say, you guys might have covered this already, but is it just me, or does that game feel like Kansas City is probably going to put up 40 before Mahomes got hurt?
Oh,
it was well within the realm of possibility. Did they let off the gas? I don't know.
I don't know if they let off the gas, but they had to change the play calls, and him not being able to move really changed what he's able to do. So
yeah,
to me, it was a matter of you just can't do some of the things, and I really didn't understand why Andy kept having him do those under center stretch, having to stretch to get the ball to McKinnon. That really pissed me off.
Yeah, I tell you, if it hadn't been for that, I think they might have let off the gas, because I think you're right. I think that was easily a score that they could have achieved. I agree with you. I'd like to see that. That's the one that I called back in the spring or in the training camp in summer. So we'll see what happens there. Chris, who do you want? We talked about this for a second. Who do you want to play? Thank you, Andrew.
Bengals.
Yeah. Okay.
Without a doubt. And it's not just about being in Kansas City. It's about everything that goes into it, with 3 straight losses to the Bengals. Just everything. And quite honestly, I understand Mahomes is going to be injured in this game, in this next upcoming game, so it doesn't really matter who they play. That's going to hurt a little bit. But Kansas City is probably going to be the healthiest that they're going to be all season headed into that game. I would imagine that if Hardman is coming back, he will be back this next week.
True. Yeah, I don't think you wait for the Super Bowl for that, if there's any reason. Kevin, you're right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they can wait for the Super Bowl, or if they can get him back this week.
Yeah. Kevin, thank you. You're absolutely right. Can't win without Tyreek, huh? Okay, sure. That's what you say. We'll start this with Dan, unless Miss Avery has a comment that we need to supersede. Who was the best guy on defense tonight?
Tonight? Oh, man, that's a question. I still think it was – no, never mind. It's not. It was Frank Clark. Frank Clark was the best player on defense tonight, and I think that it wasn't all that close. He was everywhere. Okay, it's pretty close. Yes, I know. The people want Frank Clark to be the best defensive player. That's what they want. But they've been asking for it. Playoff Frank. He came in. He showed up. He did everything he was supposed to do, like he's supposed to do when the playoffs hit. I think he was the best defensive player.
Chris, do you agree?
Nope. I still think it's Chris Jones. And I will say this.
I was going to go
Frank
with
played
Jones.
great. Yeah, no. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you could probably go with Jones every single game. I don't care that he didn't get a sack. I think he's the reason that Frank got his sack. Because if you remember, he looped back around. He went after the tackle, didn't get around, and then looped back around Chris Jones's rush to get the sack. So Jones had some great plays. I really wish he would have made a huge hit in the backfield on whatever the running back was. I can't remember where he had him dead to rights, but got juked out of his shorts. But
that's
your defensive tackle against a running back, what do you expect?
Well, and he's a jitterbug. That's what Hasty is.
Exactly.
Was it Hasty? I couldn't remember.
Nobody can keep up with him. Tyler, after this in the Browns game, Tenney to the ring. Yes.
Retire the jersey. This isn't a bit. They should retire his jersey. Put it up in the rafters.
Number 4 to the hall. That's awesome. Des, thank you for your support. Aside from the Mahomes getting hurt this game, was way too stressful than last year. I'd say and for one game only, go Bings. I don't know what that is. Is that Bengals? It's got to be Bengals. Okay.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, so you're with Chris. I'm not. I still feel like the Bills are easier to beat right now.
They possibly are, but let me paint you a little picture.
Okay.
Let me paint you a picture. The same offensive line that plays this week plays next week, and Chris Jones.
Okay.
I'm just saying. saying.
Okay.
Chris Jones eats that offensive line alive.
Well, I'm not so sure that there's multiple people that don't eat the offensive line alive. I mean, they absolutely should be eating that offensive line alive with 3 subs on that offensive line. And I mean, left tackle, right tackle's out. I can't remember which guard it is, but their guard's out as well. Who knows if they're going to have any injuries tomorrow in the game? Something to watch there as well.
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, we'll talk about this because I think somebody has a question about it. Chris was all over the place. Chris Jones was right in there. He just didn't get the finishing touches.
Still doesn't have a playoff sack.
I know. Let's hope that changes next week, no matter who the opponent is. Tactics, thank you. I had to be somewhere from 6 to 7. Did the ankle get further damage in the 4th? I can't tell you. Honestly, I think when you get a high ankle, you're generally sensitive all the way up to the knee. So I think that's probably a function of having the inflammation and everything. We won't know until the next couple of days when they probably continue therapy. And I hope if we get a call for an MRI, I'm going to be concerned. Hi, Miss Avery. Hope you're doing well.
I thought it was interesting watching Mahomes getting picked up after the MVS touchdown. We never really got a good view of him. I mean, we saw him get hit, but it was never really a good view of how he got hit. So I'm really curious to see how, once we can see a little bit more of that, what happened there, because he looked like he needed a lot of help.
Yeah, I tweeted that out for that very reason. Like he obviously landed on it, or somebody rolled him up again. So we'll have to find out. So tactics, we'll let you know. We're going to wrap up here in a couple minutes because we are post pressers about, and Matt and Derek's going to come on. So join us on Locked On Chiefs live after this, and hopefully Matt will have maybe have asked a question, or certainly should have the medical report from the team. So we'll let you know there. Evgeny, thank you. Appreciate you. Was Snead's injury? What was Snead's injury? And will he be okay after the AFC Championship? For the AFC Championship. I believe he re-stressed or strained his hip is my guess.
No,
but
it wasn't.
It wasn't?
His nose got popped out or something.
Oh, shit. That's easy. Okay,
like
fine.
They put it back in.
He's all good for the AFCCG. Not a problem.
I saw that. I'm like, no way.
Sorry, you're muted, Chris.
You're muted, Chris.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wonder if he's going to wear a mask next week.
Rock on. Yeah, hey, it don't matter. That's nothing. You can play through that, Evgeny. Not a problem. I don't even know where you guys saw that. Like, I'm looking at my Twitter feed from the beat, and I don't see anything. Dang it.
It was reported after the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm slow. Sorry. Thanks for cluing me in, though. That's awesome. I'm actually relieved because I was worried it was a restrain on that hip flexor, and that's something that is difficult. Bandwagon, you were absolutely right. He is him, and I do appreciate you. And for this one as well. This is kind of a nice hybrid here. It happens from time to time. What happened to George was left on the wide receiver. So, Jay, that was a simple problem of everybody being a little bit confused, and it came down to Willie and George not recognizing until too late that it was a wide receiver, Kirk in particular, who's got the speed in the backfield. I think Willie was starting to recognize it, and I think he was trying to tap him on the shoulder, and it looked like they just couldn't get it done in time.
Yeah.
It's a great play design by Doug.
It was. Doug understood what they were going to do and how they're going to do it, and that's one of the ways you get mismatches. Andy does the same thing with Tony and Sky whenever they line up in the backfield. It allows you to get those mismatches. And you can't blame George Karlaftis for that. And honestly, you can't blame Spags for that. The guys were trying to get it done, and they just didn't get it done in time. That one play I don't think was a game turner.
And really, it wasn't even just that. You can't blame Spags for that, because if you don't want him to blitz, because that is the product of a blitz.
Yeah.
If you don't want him to blitz, you can blame Spags. If you want him to blitz, you can't blame Spags, because that's the only way you're going to be able to do some of that stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that classic Highlander theory. There can be only one. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Same thing with the blitz. At the end of the day, you got to get there, and if it takes sending guys, you got to. It just leaves you a little bit susceptible. You'll give some up. I don't think it's too terrible myself. Corbin, explain the 3rd and 1 issues to me like I'm 5. Everybody knows it coming, and you don't have grinder offensive linemen, despite Trey Smith. Even Trey didn't get off the ball very well tonight.
I don't understand why they refuse to just spread everybody out. If you can't the definition, I've said this before, the definition of being crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different result. The Chiefs pound their head against the wall on 3rd and 1 all the time. And they refuse to change it up. And the times that they did, they got first downs.
Yeah.
Spread them out. If you want to run the ball, if you want to throw it, maybe do a play action. I mean, obviously Mahomes is hurt, so you can't really do a huge play action off of a run, but spread them out. Do something different. Creative.
Why can't you do one of those pop passes that Mahomes does?
Something.
Just a pitch to Tony. I guarantee he runs it around the edge. By the way, I'm not trying to change the subject, but I love the Chiefs digital team right now, because if you go look at their Twitter feed, it's fantastic.
I'm going to go find it.
I'm going to answer the last couple of these questions, so we're going to wrap it up for a bit.
I guess I'll wait then.
Let's see here. And by the way, KG, you're absolutely right. She does go rogue, and she's very good at it.
Absolutely. She's the best.
For pointing that out. Any thoughts on play calling? I think Andy just continues to hold things back until it really matters. You're absolutely right. I'm glad that he let a little bit out, but clearly, even with maybe they used a little bit more creativity if Patrick was in the game. But with Chad, you can't do that because he doesn't have the same abilities. But I think that there's plenty more left. And I think they're going to use more next week. I think they've been saving things from either of these opponents. And I think Tony's going to play a bigger role next week. Do you guys agree?
I think he has to. Honestly, especially if Mahomes is hurt, the ball's got to come out quick. And one player that you want to get the ball into his hands quick is Kadarius Toney. And we saw Juju Smith-Schuster, MVS. Essentially, MVS caught a touchdown and Juju caught that. Really, the first one was insane. The sidearm throw that Mahomes had was nuts. Insane. And then the back shoulder or inside shoulder underthrows that he and Juju had, the connection they have on that is great. But otherwise, what did they do? They need more time to get open, and Mahomes doesn't have it because he can't run around, he can't move. So you need to start working Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. If McCole Hardman is active next week, I think he has to be, especially if Mahomes is hurt. These are the guys that are going to be the focal point of the offense because the ball has to get out quick. Mahomes can't do what he normally does. And these are the guys that can get it and get the ball and create separation and do that kind of stuff with it.
That's what they got to do. And they got separation a couple of times from Toney tonight. I think they'll key in on that. Henny had a nice comment. Nate Taylor just tweeted out as well. He said his rollout pass was one that he had on his list. So what people don't talk about a lot of times is not only is there a game plan where coordinator, quarterback, head coach come up with a plan, the backups have a play sheet as well. Because, again, they have different skill sets. And that's one of the plays that Chad likes to run. And so you can expect to see that should he have to play again, because that's what he knows he can execute, especially with a guy with speed like Toney. And he mentioned he likened it to Tyreek Hill against the Browns, same play. So you can see how it all runs together. And I think, let's see, who else? Preachers had one. I think a deep hit to Toney needs to happen. I think that it will. I think that they mixed it up a little bit. When Chad came in, they obviously changed and got a lot more aggressive. But I think teams are going to take it easy a little bit until they understand what's going on with Patrick. So we will have an update for you. The presser should be wrapping here. We're going to get over to Locked On Chiefs, and you can see me and Chris over there. Matt Derrick will be with us, so don't miss that. Dan, any parting thoughts on your takeaways from this game?
Just, again, try not to take what you're seeing for granted. It's very easy to do that, and when you're getting kind of used to it. As Chiefs fans, just try to remember that everything you're seeing right now is the moment. It's the good times. You know that if you guys have ever seen The Office, there's a quote from one of the guys, Andy. How do you know you're in the good times, the good old times, before you're out of them? Like, people always remember the good old times. That's right now. That's right now. You're in it. You're living it. And just try to take a few moments tonight, tomorrow, whenever, to appreciate what you're seeing from Patrick Mahomes, this offense, and the greatness of Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes. They have made each other better and turned the Chiefs into one of the most fun to watch dynasty type of teams in NFL history. Just try to appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, let's enjoy it. Yeah. Ooh, I'm looking. I'm trying not to jinx some things. I have some thoughts for you guys. You'll have it all from us this week. I will do a short breakdown tomorrow night after the other games. It's going to be a very long day for me, so just let that hit you when it hits you. I'm not sure it's going to be at our normal time at 6, but I'm going to try my best to make it that way. We're going to be live on Locked On Chiefs in a little bit, so come on over for that. Dan, have a great night, and tell Miss Avery to enjoy herself.
She will. You guys have a great night, and then Chris has something to say.
Yes.
I just want to say underrated player of the game, Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. Oh.
His blitz pickups.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, blitz pickups.
Olacon's going to be worried about that for a whole offseason.
You say what you want about him not having a great game statistically. I don't care.
Yeah, no,
his ability to pick up the blitz, his ability to protect Mahomes, he has been huge the entire season. And he needs, and I wish he could give that to Pacheco, because if Pacheco could get to that point, good God, this offense would be awesome.
It's a nice way to develop him as well. And this was the key, I think. You have two backs for a reason. You run with the hot hand. It was Pacheco tonight. It's been McKinnon for weeks. So roll with it and be happy you got two of them. We're going to talk about that more this week. I'll be back tomorrow night after that game. Monday night Q&A, as always. Film and stats Tuesday and Wednesday with Dan and Gary, as always. Plus, I might throw some extra things at you. I'm going to be on vacation in a couple of weeks, so you might get a little bit extra stuff from me there, too. And by the way, I have a new sponsor coming on to RGR. I just want to give you guys a brief hint. If for those of you who stuck around, if you need to get this out of the way first, you might want to check out Mint Mobile. Yeah, they're going to be coming your way here on RGR, so be prepared. If you use that link, it helps us and it helps you. You can get really good deals over there, so check them out. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for being here. We will catch you tomorrow and over on Locked On Chiefs in a little bit.